17 days away. The NFL draft is only 17 days away. Tonight, we are jumping into the best ball streets over on Underdog. Welcome to Club Fantasy. Welcome to Mocking with the Stars. Yes. Welcome to Mocking with the Stars. Chris Battistell is off tonight, out there playing in the streets on his own. We have our very own Austin Amandolia co-hosting tonight. You can follow him over at Austin_FFL. And, of course, you can hit me up at Fantasy J on Twitter. Austin, welcome to Mocking with the Stars, man. How you doing?
I'm good to be here. You know, when you told me that this was going to be a best ball draft, I was like, great. I'm already 20 drafts in, so we're set. We're good to go.
Absolutely. Yeah. I was telling our guests tonight right beforehand that this is probably going to be like 25, 26, because that was a Friday conversation that we had. Speaking of the star of the night, friend of Club Fantasy FFL, you know him from the Rumboyz Fantasy Network, a man who has been a trailblazer in this fantasy space and the community manager over at Underdog. Rumboyz Robbie is in the building. How we doing, buddy? How we doing?
What's going on? Thank you for having me. Excited to get this draft started. Have some beers with you guys. I won't be drafting, of course, but we're gonna be critiquing Chris's draft skills throughout this process. So I'm excited. I'm sorry, Austin, for that.
Yeah. I'm gonna go ahead and let Austin get the draft board ready to go. And like Robbie said, he's not going to be drafting. Now that he is on the Underdog mountain, he can look down upon us, degenerates, and go, "You did that wrong. You did that wrong. You did that wrong. Ooh, nice pick, but you did that wrong." So, quick programming note: next Tuesday, we are starting a new show over here on Club Fantasy FFL. It is going to be Masterclass with myself and Stacey Perez. We're going to be doing best ball, but it's going to be more of a high stakes style of best ball. More information will come out over the next couple of days, but that will be on Tuesdays at 8:30. Don't forget, hit that like, smash that subscribe button for us. We're headed to the goal of 1,000 subscribers before the 2024 season kicks off. Let's get to it, Austin. I mean, the draft board is up. Go ahead and pull it up for us, and we will get this draft going. Tonight we are drafting the big board, half-point PPR, 20 rounds. Your roster setups are 1 quarterback, 2 running back, 3 wide receiver, 1 tight end, 1 flex, 12 bench spots. This is a 30-second clock. Robbie, what is share some of your insights on how you approach drafting, or how you did approach drafting in best balls, and how you would prioritize positions, player types, that sort of thing.
Well, right now you don't have the advantage of being able to go by weekly correlations. So a lot of this right now is really just firing from the hip. You want to maybe try and not get too many players of too many different teams. So stay away from your homerisms. Try not to let that get the best of you during this process. But yeah, I mean, it's what I always find interesting throughout these draft processes is figuring out where guys may or may not be sliding with some of the trades that have been going on, with some of the free agency moves that have been going on. So excited to see how that shakes out, and it looks like we are underway.
Yes, does it? It looks like we are underway. Spicoli is in the chat saying what a handsome trio this is. He's talking about Robbie and Austin. I don't know who the third guy would be there. But
Gator, you're a good-looking guy, bro. Don't do that.
Buddy,
come on, man.
Listen, there's a reason I have a filter on my camera. I don't want to break the thing. It was $100. It wasn't cheap. Vaporware is asking if we're doing the big or little board. We are doing the big board, and he knows that now because he is joining us. It looks like we ended up with the 3rd spot. Is that correct, Austin?
Yeah, that's correct. It looks like our buddy Vaporware is the 2nd spot.
So we can't talk about what your strategy is going to be, because he's gonna jump in there.
I mean, it's really only one of two things that we're going to be able to do here. I mean, obviously, number one is going to go CMC, right? I mean,
yeah, hard to argue with that. For sure.
Well, when it comes to these best balls, what are you looking? How do you like to build it? Do you do the zero RB? Are you, with it being a half point PPR? How much do the wide receivers matter? I mean, there's 3 of them, and then of course the flex that you're playing. So which way are we looking here to build out the roster there, Austin?
Yeah, so I'm gonna go ahead. I'm gonna make my first pick, and I'm gonna go a little bit out of ADP order. I think I don't know. No, you got to go Tyreek Hill. So we're gonna go Tyreek Hill with the 3rd pick.
Okay.
I tend to be an anchor RB guy whenever playing on Underdog Fantasy because with it being half point PPR, touchdowns are very important. And so you need to make sure that you're getting a solid running back that's going to be able to get into the end zone consistently. But then I'll often wait for my second running back just because I like having a sure thing. Now, it's going to be interesting this year because running backs have gotten pushed up the board a little bit. There's more elite running backs at the top of the order in ADP. So we'll see how that strategy plays out.
Exactly. Me personally, I don't have an issue with going with the Tyreek Hill pick there. I feel like then on the turn we're going to have to get kind of a surefire running back. We'll see how this thing shakes out. But you probably could have gotten away with going Bijan. Maybe going out of the ADP order and going a little bit lower. It's tough when you have 3. And it's like, okay, well now, no, like I gotta go get Tyreek Hill. I gotta go get Jamar Chase, or Justin Jefferson. I feel like he's still quarterback proof. The fact that he just now got taken is just insane to me.
Yeah. How do you talking about Justin Jefferson? Sam Darnold right now more than likely is going to be a rookie, whether that's JJ McCarthy, whether that's, Drake May, if they trade up or if they just stay pat, whatever they're going to do here. When it comes to these best balls, somebody like Justin Jefferson, like you just said, Robbie, is, at least in your opinion, and I would agree with you that he is quarterback proof. We saw that last year when he didn't have Kirk Cousins and he had a rookie and 14 other
Bobs and
he still put up a damn good season. So somebody like that doesn't, you truly doesn't affect, but you get down into what, wide receiver 9, 10, 11, somewhere in that range, it may affect them a little bit more. No?
Yeah, it does. It does begin to maybe affect those guys a little bit more. More lately. I mean, is there like a specific wide receiver that you're trying to speak about when bringing this up?
Well, I mean, we're going off of last year. We were talking about Drake London that way, wasn't it? Our thumbnail guy, right? So,
okay, yeah. I was like, I feel like you're trying to push me towards a certain direction here. Look, I feel like I get out of my Drake London disdain this year. What I thought that Drake London could have been when he got drafted, I think that he actually is going to get that this year. I think that we can even get that out of Kyle Pitts. I'm still not buying that climb on Kyle Pitts right now. So yet to be determined how I let that one shake out. I love this homie's build here with the Gibbs and Saquon. I had a feeling somebody was gonna do that. I love that right there.
Yeah, we want to run through the first round here in just a second, but we're seeing our first rookie come off the board there at the 15th pick there. So that's going to be 2-3 with Marvin Harrison Jr. When you're drafting these early before they get, before the player gets drafted into the NFL, when you are looking at these rookies coming in, how much does that impact you? Do you fade them a little bit more, Austin, or are you sitting there going, no, I'm gonna trust that this guy's going to be, the wide receiver 1 on his team, no matter where it's at, even if it's in a bad spot?
I think it really depends on the receiver. With the guys like Marvin Harrison, Malik Neighbors, and Rome Odunze, I feel pretty confident about taking them in drafts like this. But also, even some of those dart throw rookies later in the draft, this is the time of year where you need to try and target the ones that you like, because they're only going to go up in ADP from here. Once they get that landing spot after the draft, they're going to start shooting up draft boards. People are going to get excited about whatever running back, whatever receiver goes to Kansas City, whatever running back or receiver goes to Buffalo. And so now's the time to head that off and to get the value while it's there.
No, I agree with that. I agree with that. Once they get the landing spot, they're gonna get drove up. It's interesting seeing Marvin Harrison go up that high. That dude also has Puka Nacua on his team as well. It's like, okay, so you're hoping lightning just strikes in the bottle twice, it's a very interesting build.
Yeah, I mean, when I'm drafting best ball, I usually try to get two top end wide receivers, especially with a 3 wide receiver and 1 flex build. That's usually the goal. So I'm liking the others that are of that same mindset, getting that second wide receiver early. Now you can go just about anywhere. Nico Collins there in the second round. I like that. A little spicy.
Okay.
A little spicy there, Austin. How you doing?
Here's
talk to me about Nico Collins in the second round there.
Yeah, I mean, I still think he's got a good chance to command a ton of targets and that Texans offense. I also think like people are going to start putting Diggs over him, as we see already happening in this draft. And I don't think it was just Buffalo that was having an issue with Diggs.
Minnesota had issues with Diggs.
Minnesota had issues with Diggs, and like he might be able to pick out a role, but Nico Collins already has that established rapport with CJ Stroud. Ooh, Derrick Henry just went. I wanted to snag him off of this turn. That did not work out.
Yeah, I was, with that thought process though, knowing that most people are going to fade him because of the recent, very, very recent news of Stephon Diggs. Do you think you could have waited another round maybe? Or do you think he would have gone in those 4 picks? That's, and then you could have had your Derrick Henry along with your Nico Collins right there.
Yeah, I think this is why it's important to do a bunch of these drafts and to do stuff like this, is to understand where the ADP goes. And this is the first big board I've done this year. I did a bunch of the first little boards that came out, and it's been a while since I did this. So the ADP, I'm a little bit rusty on that, frankly. So that's the importance of doing this, is to see how far they fall in other drafts. Maybe would have fallen, but I'm kind of like, I want to get my guy and I want to go ahead and go for it as much as I can.
Well, I don't think there's a problem going against ADP or going down the board a little bit. Again, that's why I asked the question, because there is that opportunity at some of these that possibly Nico would have gone in the next 4 picks, right? If you would have gone Henry there, somebody would have, huh?
Definitely a possibility.
Right. Yeah. So that, I mean, I don't mind scrolling down the board as some people in the industry would say is, scroll down the effing board. Don't be a prisoner to ADP. So Robbie, speaking of that concept that he just brought up, not knowing the ADP, but bringing up ADP, average draft position, when you are doing a best ball, how much do you rely on ADP, and how much do you scroll down the board knowing that I'm going to try to be contrarian and not be the same build as somebody else? Especially in these large tournaments like this.
Yeah, the larger the tournament, the more sometimes the more contrarian I want to be, especially kind of when I get into the middle of the rounds. I like to maybe get a little fancy, take a little bit of risk. Like, hey, I noticed that we went ahead and we grabbed Jalen Hurts there. I was hoping, hey, between the homie that grabbed Stephon Diggs and now us having Nico, I was wanting to hope to see we could have went with a little stack there, a little 2x multiplier, but not. No, you gotta have different builds, especially where you could have multiple entries. You want to be attempting different strategies throughout the process. You're not just subject to one lineup. You don't have to just do one lineup, and that's what's great about these big tournaments. Go out there, try different things, try different builds. Like you said, don't be chained to ADP. There's been plenty of times, like, look, we just like Sam Laporta's going above Travis Kelce right now. Like, come on, like, and right now there's that argument happening. Like should has Laporta commanded that now at this point? Like, no, be different, be contrarian, do what you want to do. Like Austin mentioned, go get your guys.
Yeah, to me, even Kelce in the 5th round there for a tight end where you're only playing one tight end, when you can play him in a flex, fine, whatever. But when you're only playing one tight end, it seems a little bit pricey when you have the players of Mike Evans, Rashid Rashee Rice, but Devontae Smith, Cooper Kupp. You've got these guys still on the board, and yet we're going to go after this onesie position that you can actually, at the end of the draft, go get 3 guys.
And just
Hunter Henry, it's best ball. So you're only wanting a touchdown week.
And just wait till see. I knew he was going to do that. I knew he was going to grab CJ Stroud. I knew that dude was going to do that. That's why I was like, damn, like maybe we should just like go ahead and grab Stroud. That's something that's been interesting too, is how like Stroud, Justin Allen, Josh Allen, Mahomes, they've all their ADPs have kind of like fluctuated throughout underdog drafts. We had actually just put out a tweet about the Texas and the Buffalo like position ADPs kind of flip flopping all over the place.
All over one player getting traded.
Oh yeah, one player made a huge drastic difference in a lot of players' ADPs. But no, just wait till schedules get released. Like wait till schedules get released, and then your draft opponents are going to be thinking about, and you're going to be thinking about, okay, well, let me find which weeks I could get shootouts. What team is going to have more shootouts than not? Divisional matchups. Playoff correlation, like once you get into, those fantasy playoff weeks, like, 15, 16, 17, like right now, it's just, you really don't know right now, we're just drafting for fun. No one really knows.
Yeah. This is the epitome of our degenerates, including ourselves. Let me jump over to the chat real quick. Vaporware, this is his first 102 of the year. Evidently, he's been drafting a little bit later. He's seen Bijan go 101 a few times since the cousin move. Jorge Edwards, Fantasy and Frames' very own Jorge Edwards in the chat saying, what's good? Tootsie Pop saying hello to everybody. And then Vaporware back in the chat saying, it was early on Henry, and he would have taken Nico if you didn't take Nico. So
I'm kind of pissed at how many just running back hoarding at the one spot.
Yeah.
I mean,
that's excessive.
It is. I do love the Rachaad White, my very own Tampa Bay love right there. Is with the Rachaad White pick. Don't know if it's the right value there, Austin, but hey, whatever. I appreciate you thinking of me when you made that pick.
Yeah, this is the thing though, that the ADP feels so weird, because I'm like, yeah, I mean, Rachaad White, he's gonna score fantasy points. I don't think he's a great running back, but he's got the role. But I got him right at his ADP. His ADP is right around 45, so it kind of worked out. Fell to me at that spot, which is good. It was kind of between him and James Cook where I was there. Didn't love any of the receiver value, so had to just go ahead and snag the running back.
I love that. What was that, Robbie?
I said until they draft someone.
This is true. This is the fun part about doing it now. Yeah,
I was going to say, if you haven't been paying attention, the one that they didn't draft last year, they signed as a undrafted free agent out of what was it, Syracuse? Sean Tucker. He's been looking pretty good in off-season workouts. Just saying,
bro. Look, I'm still a believer in Sean Tucker. I'm still a believer. I have a couple of dynasty shares. I'm still a believer.
Yes.
I feel like Hollywood probably could have justifiably went maybe a little bit earlier over Pickens and Amari Cooper. I like Hollywood in the Kansas City system a lot better than those two with their dog shit situations.
Yeah, I'm surprised to see, what was it, a full round, same team now, a full round after Rashee Rice right now.
Wow, look at where Patrick Mahomes went. Wow.
QB.
Wow.
QB 5.
That is.
But another one.
Didn't I tell you what I tell you?
He stacked him with Kelsey, though.
I love that he stacked him with Kelsey. I mean, but how did everyone in the room let him do that?
Including the 3 of us.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I mean,
are we trusting Jalen Hurts without Jason Kelsey up front?
Oh yes, he was doing great fantasy wise even before they started doing the tush push. I feel fine with it, and I think the thing for me is I wanted a guy with that rushing upside. Mahomes, he's an efficient rusher, he's an efficient scrambler, but that's not the way he makes his money. He's going to make his money getting his receivers working down the field. So, I think it's the funny thing about even CJ Stroud. I'm like, yeah, he's probably one of the top receiver or top quarterbacks in the league right now. But from a fantasy perspective, I want the guys with more rushing upside.
So when you're looking at your board, are you saying I'm going into this draft wanting Jalen Hurts, Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen, one of those three?
If I'm going to take a quarterback this early, yes. I think that's the key for me. If I'm taking a quarterback in the first 3 to 5 rounds, they need to be able to run. If I'm waiting and kind of punting on quarterback till later, then it's fine. It's fine with me to get someone that's more of that pocket role.
I feel like I want like Stroud or even Mahomes, like just a little bit more. Lamar, waiting to the next round to get Lamar. I don't know if I'm trusting Jalen Hurts without his main offensive line there. Like I don't know. Without Kelsey, I worry a little bit.
Yeah, I don't, and I don't think that Philly is going to do the tush push as much this year, unless they're on the 1 yard line. I think that was one of the big things of bringing Saquon in there. So I
to bring in a running back that can operate in space, create space.
Correct. Yeah, so yeah. I'm not gonna stress the no Jason Kelsey, limiting the tush push as much.
Yeah, I agree. I'm not too worried about it too, because like Jalen Hurts, like they drew up like quarterback draws for him and whatnot. They found other ways to get him mobile in the red zone. So I feel like, sure, maybe he'll get less 1 yard touchdown runs towards in the red zone, but that doesn't mean that he's going to be totally useless on the ground. I think he'll still be doing just fine. And our buddy just sniped me on Aaron Jones right there.
Damn it.
Vaporware coming in with the snipe right there. The role says Jalen Hurts with no tush push equals McDonald's cashier. Then he comes back and he wants to know, a chain went ahead of Jacobs. Is that interesting to you guys, or is it not? I mean, is that something where you feel like that's where that's supposed to happen?
I like a chain. I like a chain. So I guess I'm more biased there. But you could easily go with either one. I don't think that it's that big of a deal. Both are going to be explosive this year. Both are going to have great seasons. You might get a little bit more out of Josh Jacobs because, a chain may have to fully be healthy. To rely on a chain to do that. We saw how that kind of played into last year. Don't know how much you want to take that risk again, but it's fantasy football. You're always taking a risk.
Going over to what Robbie said a minute ago about Jason Kelsey not being there in Philly, he says you're putting way too much weight into the QB losing his center. We've literally never done this for any other quarterback in the history of fantasy football. Robbie, I think he's calling you out.
Hey, I'm just saying. Hey, NFL, real life NFL affects fantasy football. You are still anticipating the real life of it. Yes, there's still obviously like the scoring and things of that nature, but real life still plays into it.
The other side of that coin too is we're not to the draft yet. We don't know what they're going to do in the draft.
Nope.
They could very well go out there and get them a great center in the draft.
Nope. Anything can happen. This is the NFL. Anything can happen. Anything can happen.
So your Phillies trading up to the 101. Is that what you said?
Well,
you said.
That's wild.
Let's talk about these last couple of picks that Austin has made here with Christian Kirk, Evan Ingram, and James Conner. I'm loving the James Conner. They're great value, I believe, for somebody that's going to get a lot of touches out there in Arizona. Robbie, what do you think about those last three picks? Christian Kirk, Evan Ingram, and James Conner.
Like I said earlier, though, I like to try and maybe stay away from multiple players on the same team. But damn, gotta love the Ingram pick right there. I mean, right? He was a solid tight end for fantasy managers last year. I absolutely think that he's going to do it again. I know that a lot of people are kind of like questioning, is Sunshine, aka Trevor Lawrence, just bleach blonde, long hair, Danny Dimes that's in Florida? But I don't know. I feel like if we can still get the same production out of Evan Ingram, then the other side of the equation doesn't really matter for us here. James Conner, like you said, he's going to get a ton of touches down in Arizona. Love that pick there. I mean, in Christian Kirk, there's no Ridley, so it's all yours. But
can't see the first 2 rounds. We have scrolled a little bit. This is again going to go 20 rounds. Austin, you before you get the pick here, you've got about 6 picks or so before your pick. Who is the biggest surprise so far out of these first 7 rounds for you? In this best ball, again, not knowing NFL draft, not knowing landing spots for the rookies. Leave the rookies completely out of it for right now, if you don't mind.
Yeah, I think one that sticks out to me is honestly Jackson Smith-Njigba. The fact that he is not getting more interest than what he is this year. He's going into that second year. I think we'll continue to see his role increase in that Seattle offense, and probably Tyler Lockett's role decrease. He was a first round draft pick coming out last year, and people were very hyped about him. So I feel like he's got a good chance of being a really big value in draft boards this year.
Robbie, is there somebody that you've seen in these first 7 rounds or so that it was just like, wow, that was a reach?
Not really. I haven't seen much of a reach really. But I mean, again, it's early. Landing spots and things are gonna dictate. I feel like, like you said, just keeping the rookies out of my mind, and not letting that kind of cloud my judgment too much. It feels like this is just a very natural flowing draft for the most part.
Any of these builds, while Austin's fixing to be on the clock here, any of these builds surprise you?
Yeah, the person that's been drafting first. The between the running back hoarding, and then it's like, okay, well, then you go Trey McBride. I know that we're obviously super high on Trey McBride, but then like Deontay and then Christian Watson back to back for your receivers as a 1 and a 2 kind of scare me. As far as Christian Watson, I feel like Wicks and Dobbs and Reed have kind of earned. I feel like are going to earn the dominant targets from Jordan Love this year. I just feel like that they look far better as wide receivers in the actual NFL. That's going to translate over into fantasy. I'm not into like the whole big boom play, type of highlight reel-esque from like a Christian Watson, Deontay Johnson. I don't necessarily know if Canales is going to have this team fully ready to go for them to be fantasy football friendly. So that's something that I worry about there with also Bryce Young. And then he goes Xavier Worthy and Lamb-Conky. We don't know where they're going to go.
Well, I think that goes back to one of the first things we said, right? When we go into these drafts building, you definitely need to be looking at your roster construction, what it has to be, what you have to put out there, right? And if you've got to put out 3 wide receivers, just 3 wide receivers, forget about the flex for a minute, but your 3 wide receivers you're putting out there are Deontay Johnson, who could be, a 1. He could also be a 2, like he's been most of his career. A Christian Watson, who we know gets injured every 3rd play. And then 2 rookies that we have no idea. Those are the 3 guys that Underdog is going to say, okay, how many points you get me and put them into your lineup. But he does have all these running backs, and you're only going to be able to start 3 of those because you're going to have to play one of those in your flex because of these zeros you're going to get at the wide receiver room.
That's what I'm saying. Hey, let's I guess, right?
This could also be exactly what Austin was saying too at the very beginning. A bunch of these drafts, bunch of different builds.
Yeah, but they're just some builds. I'm not going to.
Deontay's the homie. Great interview. Great guy. Great person. But not. We don't know. Like, come on, bro. Come on.
I mean,
not as. I'm sorry, Josh. Not as wide receiver 1. Sorry. Not as wide
Nah.
receiver one on my best ball team. Go ahead.
Not as one on my best ball.
Yeah, I mean, I was gonna say, just building off of your point, Jay, like the four running backs is overkill to me with your first 4 picks of this draft. To your point, you can start a maximum of 3 because you get your 2 running back spots and then your flex spot. So you just drafted a player that you're in an ideal scenario expecting to get you 0 points on the year. And that's one of the things that I think when it comes to best ball is important to remember is you're looking for points added for each of your players. It's not just like who's going to have the best season and whatnot. It's you need to know that they're not going to just be a goose egg on your roster the whole season. They may only get you 20 points in the season, but if I'm picking a player who's going to get me 20 points across the season, I want them to be my 20th round pick, not my 4th round pick, right? Like I need that to be way later in the draft when I'm taking those dart throws, not with my 4th round pick. And I mean, James Cook, like he could feasibly not outscore Derrick Henry and the other 2. Let me see if I can find it real quick on my side. Yeah. How many times do we think James Cook is going to outscore Christian McCaffrey, Josh Jacobs, and Derrick Henry?
3.
I would say 1 or 2.
I was being gracious.
Well, you're definitely, again, this is half point PPR. Yes, he does have some receiving chops, but you're really hoping for multiple touchdowns in multiple weeks from him.
Yeah. And you're hoping that they don't continue to go running back by committee and spread the ball to a bunch of receivers.
Yeah. At the
receivers at that.
8th round, 4th pick, Jameson Williams. The role wants to know, am I crazy about Jameson Williams? It's been going way higher than he expected. 8-4, does that seem right for you, Robbie?
I personally would avoid drafting Jameson Williams. I feel like that there's
even in best ball
talent, even in best ball. I feel like that there's other talent that I could probably get that'll be more consistent for me. I know, and I feel like I hate calling out coach speak it, but like I feel like at this time of year, like that's really what a lot of us are kind of getting fed. I feel like Dan Campbell coming out, what was it, 2-3 weeks ago, saying like, yeah, this year we're gonna get James Williams the ball a lot more. I don't wholeheartedly believe that because I'm like, well, why? Everyone else in that room can do the things that he can do better. So what? Why? Like, it just confuses me. Like, I feel like we're wanting Jameson Williams as fantasy fans for him to be something that he's not actually going to be in the real life, NFL.
Yeah, let me ask it this way: would you rather have Jameson Williams or Jacoby Myers in best ball?
Fuck it, throw me Jacoby.
Jameson Williams, Curtis Samuel. Jameson Williams, Josh Downs.
Jameson Williams.
Okay, so it's right there. There was 4 wide receivers.
I was like, that's special. Yeah.
Five wide receivers taken between Jameson Williams and where you were like, okay, that must stop right there. And there was also, 5. Was it 5? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Sorry, 7. 3 of them were also rookies. So Xavier Worthy, Ad McConkey, Adonai Mitchell were all taken between where you said, okay, give me all these other players. Mike Williams.
I would probably take the rookies over Jameson at this point too.
Yeah. Okay. So you're on the same page. It would have been at least another full round before you would have gone and gotten Jameson Williams for the upside.
Yeah.
Even then. Okay. All right. That's very, very fair. No, not knowing what we have for bye weeks, and knowing we can't even calculate that into our minds right now, a couple weeks down the road when we have the schedule, or a couple months down the road when we have the schedule come out, how much do the bye weeks factor in? Austin?
I think the bye weeks factor in hugely, because like I said, I mean, at that point you're also thinking about correlation and shit too. So it's like you have to make sure that things match up. You can't have too many players on a bye week. You can't just sit back in best ball and be like, oh, I guess I'm just going to sacrifice this one. Like, that's not really a great strategy in best ball. So, I mean.
Well, that's kind of what the strategy, I mean, we're shooting from the hip right now, right?
That's exactly what we're doing right now.
Austin, how much do the bye weeks factor in for you?
It factors in mostly for my quarterback and tight end spots because I'm probably only going to draft 2 or 3 of each of those positions. So you got to make sure that they're not landing on the same one. In this draft, because there's 20 rounds and we don't know bye weeks yet, I'm more likely to draft 3 quarterbacks and 3 tight ends just to like shoot my odds and hope that I don't get 3 quarterbacks that are all in the same bye week at the same time. But when we know those bye weeks, I'll be a little bit careful on that front. I care a little bit less about it when it comes to the running backs and the receivers. But if I start to get to a point where I'm like, I have 3 receivers all with the same bye week, then I will probably try and avoid that bye week unless it's just like there's a player that screams value to me that I need to take.
Robbie, I know I said forget about the rookies, but I have to ask you this question.
Please.
Which of the rookies do you believe is going to have the biggest impact when it comes to best ball?
That's not like one like the obvious like receivers or something or the other.
Yeah, I mean, who do you think is overall? Yeah, Marvin Harrison, yes, is going to be great. We all know that.
Yeah, I'm not gonna easy.
No, that's why I preface it with for best ball because we know he's going to be great just for fantasy football in general.
I'm like when we all like to search for like the next Puka Nacua, there's honestly 2 that like I'm really, really high on. I think Javon Baker can be something amazing. Super fascinated in Javon Baker. Super fascinated to where Malik Washington ends up. If Malik Washington ends up in the right system, look out. This kid could possibly like he gives me this weird gadget player, like almost like a old school Tyreek and KC type of vibe, like almost to him. Not trying to do player comps. I hate doing player comps, but I just did one. But him and Javon Baker are both guys like I'm super high on out of the wide receivers.
Austin, you have one that you're when you're looking at them. And I guess a better way to ask the question, Robbie, and I apologize for putting you on the spot there, but I guess a better way to ask the question is there, when it comes to best ball, is there a rookie that you are not leaving the draft without?
Okay, so leaving the draft without, and who will we talking about post draft?
Right.
Totally. Okay. A rookie that I'm not leaving the draft without. I'm not. I'll reach for Malik Neighbors. I'm bought in.
Austin, is it Malik Neighbors for you, or is there somebody different that you're sitting there going, I can wait till round 12, 13, 14, and this guy is going to be a guy that I'm definitely going to be targeting every single time as far as a rookie?
Well, so there are guys that I will be targeting more often than not. I want to come back and talk a little bit about that premise of targeting them every time. But one guy that sticks out to me that I'm like, I'm going to target him a ton is Adonai Mitchell. I think where he's going, he could land in a really good spot, like where he's being mocked to go and where he's rated. He could end up with one of those elite teams. Like I think there's a good chance like Kansas City takes him, right? That'd be a great landing spot for him. He'd be able to make an immediate impact. I'm over here trying to stress, make a pick. We're going to make one. It's probably going to be a mistake because I'm talking and making at the same time.
I don't think that is a mistake.
Nope. I'm loving the last 2 picks that you've taken there with Khalil and Joshua Palmer there. So Shakir and Palmer, I'm loving those.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, but as back to the rookies, I love Adonai Mitchell. I think he's got a good possibility of being a good X receiver for wherever he goes. Another rookie I'm looking at who hasn't gone yet, so I'm probably going to say this and then not be able to get him, is Marshawn Lloyd, who the running back from USC. I am a big fan of his game. He's my number 1 running back in this rookie class. I like the way he's a patient runner and he hits gaps pretty well. And the thing about him that's interesting is he didn't need to be used that much because of Caleb Williams, right? So people will look at his stat line and think, maybe not, maybe I'll go somewhere else. But he has, when you watch the tape and you watch the way that he runs and the way he finds gaps in the offensive line and the blocking schemes that are in front of him, I like that. And that's the type of player I want to make a bet on. Particularly in best ball, these kind of late round running backs is where I feel like there's a lot more value to be had.
Yeah,
couldn't agree
another one
more.
that I know has not come off the board, and the role agrees with you. He's not leaving without Adonai Mitchell. And then this guy, we all know how high I am on Jalen McMillan. But
I like that too.
yeah, I'm loving the Lloyd deal you just brought up there, because I have him as my RB2, and again, you brought him up, and so of course he gets taken right after you do that. Very, very nice.
It's
Very
fantasy
nice
football.
job.
It's fantasy football. Like we all know, like that there is going to be. And granted, in previous years, it's always been like, well, this is the clear cut, number one running back,
Mhm.
kind of like ever since like that Barkley kind of, era, so on and so forth. But we know that there's going to be a rookie that is going to light the NFL on fire from the running back position. We know. It's just because of the way that this running back class is shaped out. It's not. You're not getting that Zeke. You're not getting that Barkley. You're not getting that. You're not getting Bijan. So it's kind of hard. But I feel like after landing spot, like we're gonna be like, oh yeah, this is the one now.
Yeah, it's the Dameon Pierce phenomenon, right? That he just landed in the perfect spot in Houston, had a killer year, and then seemed to be it.
Well, that it's whoever lands in Dallas is honestly is going to be who's gonna be, I mean, it's what it is. That is exactly what it is. So, yeah. The role saying the QJ wide receiver 1 right now should not be falling to the 12th round. Now, that being said,
don't tell anyone.
Well,
you're gonna ruin the fun.
Yes, catch with his hands and not his body.
I do worry about that.
QJ
asking, right?
QJ goes at 12-4. The other guy went a few picks later, Joshua Palmer. I'm thinking I would want Palmer in best ball over QJ any day of the week.
Palmer is, here's the thing. You go back, check out Palmer, even over the course, like his NFL career. The dude, he can high point the hell out the ball. Like he can go out there and he can box out there. He's Kevin Garnett. He's Kevin Garnett playing wide receiver. He's KG playing wide receiver, bro.
I thought you didn't like player comps. I just have to mess with you about that.
I'm just saying, like, QJ. You remember? They had they put the stick in my homie's hands in the replacements.
Mm-hmm.
And like, I feel like we got to do that with QJ and be like, now like this. I'm just saying. I'm just saying.
Paperware saying you got him back sniping Palmer and getting rid of his Charger stack. Although he does have a Charger stack. He's got him and he's got Herbert and Gus Edwards there. So, I don't know what else he wanted you to do. He totally agrees. Tootsie Pop totally agrees. Palmer over QJ as well.
Yes.
We've moved on a little bit further into the draft. These last what do we got? 10 through 13 right now are complete, working halfway through round 14. Robbie, looking at those particular rounds, 10 through 13, roughly 4 rounds there. Any big surprise? I mean, we talked about QJ going there. Any other surprise, whether it's good or bad for you?
Someone had the confidence to pick up Rico Dowdle. And I just automatically assume that person has to be taking a shot right now. Like, God, please, it can't get any worse. I feel bad for that guy. But luckily the rest of his team is actually pretty decent. It's just, Rico Dowdle was that's nauseating. I probably would have taken the chance on the rookie Allen and just never ever thought about clicking on Dowdle's name.
Yeah, we've seen looks like I believe it's 12 quarterbacks go in those 4 rounds as well, with Tua, Kirk Cousins, Jared Goff, Brock Purdy, Jaden Daniels, Trevor Lawrence, Baker Mayfield, Aaron Rodgers, Matthew Stafford, and then Drake May there going off. I mean, I guess this is right about the rounds you want to see.
You want to see where the dart throws go.
What's that?
You want to see where the dart throws go.
Well, yeah, but this is right about the round where you should see these I guess these back end for ones, back end or twos, back end quarterback ones, quarterback twos overall in a one quarterback, right? I'm just this team that Austin is building right now is like mwah, mwah. Loving.
No,
I'm in love with K. Otten, and then he stacks him with
back there
Baker
with Baker
Mayfield. I
Mayfield.
mean, so there's K. Otten is one of those dudes you should absolutely be targeting in every single one of your best balls. He never leaves the field. He's on the field like 93% of the time. It's ridiculous. Even on defense, I think he's on there.
Really quick. I think is that Vaporwave that's drafting right before us?
Yes.
I love the Xavier Leggett pick because I don't care about system fit or anything with Leggett. He's just gonna be he's baby DK. He's baby DK. I don't know. Sorry, player comps. I did it again.
Austin, back on the clock. Talk us through this thought process right here, Austin.
Well, this thought process is very stressed right now because I wanted Roshan Johnson and then I wanted Khalil Herbert. I was going after the Chicago running backs. They both got sniped for me. And because I wanted to get my fourth running back. I only have 3 running backs at this point in the draft, which means I'm about to start making a bunch of dart throws at running back.
Yeah.
But because I don't like the running backs in some of the other running backs in this tier as much as I do some later on, I decided to pivot back to receivers, build a little bit more depth, and take a dart throw with a rookie receiver that I like as a potential. I mean, it's going to depend on the land spot, but I really like Jalen Polt. I think he could be a fantastic player in the NFL, and if he pops in that rookie season, all the better.
Austin, go ahead and flip your screen over if you can for us so we can see the full team that you have built just for you specifically. If you can do that way we can compare some of these stacks that you have thrown in there, because you have the quarterback tight end stack with both of your current quarterbacks with Baker Mayfield, Kate Otten, and of course Jalen Hurts and Dallas Goedert there. I love that. I absolutely love that. Throwing Khalil Shakir in there, Joshua Palmer with Jacoby Myers as your back end wide receivers, and then up at the very beginning with Christian Kirk, Nico Collins, Tyreek Hill to start off with, Rashad White, James Cook, and then who was your third running back there?
Austin Eckler.
Oh, ooh. Where did you pick him up in, like the 15th round?
Got him in the 8th round.
Okay.
Yeah. Don't do that. Don't do that.
I mean, I love being able to get him even the 8th round for a guy that was in that RB1 conversation prior to last year. Still, I think is a great value. What's going on, Jamie, in the chat for you? Yo, Robbie.
What's good, Jamie? Don't worry. Austin Eckler gonna pop off this year. So is that whole team. Don't you worry, bro. Don't you worry.
No, I mean I love the pick, but that leads me to the next question, because I know you said Austin was looking at it going, I wanted Roshan, then I wanted Khalil. Yeah, how do you approach drafting backups and handcuffs to protect teams against injuries or the bye weeks there?
I never take my own. I always take somebody else's handcuff because I think you're betting when you pick your players, you're betting they're going to stay healthy the whole year, right? And if you're doing your own handcuff, then you're betting the bet you're making is that your best player is going to get hurt, your best running back is going to get hurt, and that's not a great way to build. And so instead, you try and build to predict other people's weaknesses. So if there's a running back that's going to get hurt, well, their team's going to falter and your team's going to get better. And so it's just going to make it all the more likely that you're able to squeak out that advancement in your best ball league.
In best ball, you're especially in the draft room. I feel like unlike other formats, there's a lot more anticipating your other opponents in the room than other formats, just because this is a season long thing. So everyone is playing chess, and they're playing it from a different angle. Just because there's so many different factors and strategies that go into the team build. Ultimately, you're wanting to have like Austin mentioned, battle of attrition. The guys are going to get injured, guys are going to get hurt. You're wanting to have the most consistent team, especially health wise, throughout the whole tournament as possible, while also managing your own risk at the same time.
Yeah, Austin, go ahead. Let's move that board back to where we can see where we are currently, if you don't mind. I just wanted to get back up there and remember all the phenomenal picks that you actually made up there. So I'm actually loving the build here. We talked about it a little bit earlier, and I know, Robbie, you don't like doing this, but how do you approach it? Number one, and then what are your reasons for disliking or liking it? Drafting players from the same team, from the same NFL team.
I mean, at this point, where we're at, I mean, it's that's gonna happen. You don't want to go overload on it, you know. So, like, obviously, like, yeah, we've done it with our stacks. Okay, well, there's a reason that cancels out or rules out, you know, drafting players from the same team. You're doing it with purpose. But if you're just, there's no need for you to have Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle, like, you know, especially when like one may be favored more so than the other. You want to try and find like that fine line between, like, you know, having whatever else in between that. You know what I mean? You don't want to go like, you don't want to have like 3, 4, 5 players all from like the same team is what I meant with that earlier. But like a stack here and there, that's fine. That's justifiable. You know, if there's 2 players that are absolutely like supporting each other's roles, okay, like fine. Like if they both eat in the offense, you know, there was that crazy year where like you could have Kareem Hunt and Chubb, you know, when they were both dominant for the Browns, like you were probably better off more weeks than not. Like stuff like that can happen. Don't draft 3 players, 4 players.
Yeah, you're not wanting 2 wide receivers and a tight end from the same.
God, no, please.
Austin, you feel the exact same way, right?
Actually, I don't.
Ooh, let's get spicy. Go ahead.
So I see value in stacking from multiple players from your team, just because, like, I will say, I'll caveat it with, at this time of the year, I'm doing it less, right? I'm doing it less because I don't know the week 17 correlation. I don't know the schedule. And so I'm a little bit more hesitant to overstack a team at this point in the season. After we get the schedule, I then start to do it way more aggressively, because what I'm starting to bet on is I'm betting on a team to go off. And if a team is going to go off, then a lot of the pass catchers are going to also go off. A lot of the playmakers are also going to go off. If the Jacksonville Jaguars are averaging 28 to 31 points a team, there's enough scoring to go around that I'm going to soak up as much of the offensive volume as I can on my team and not do it elsewhere. I think Miami is actually a great example as a counterpoint here, where I'm like, Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle, that's the offense for the receivers. Like, it's the 2 of them. It's either the 2 of them or it's the 2 running backs. You know where the ball is going. I do it when I know where the ball is going, is the thing too. Buffalo, Kansas City, those are situations where I want the elite guys, because like Kansas City, it's Travis Kelce, it's Patrick Mahomes. And maybe it's going to change this year, but last year it was an awful time to stack a bunch of them, right? Because it was going to be Rashee Rice one year. It was going to be Marcus Valdes-Scantling a different week. It was going to be, well, it was kind of never him actually, but it was meant to be him one week. It was meant to be Miko Hardman one week. It was meant to be Kadarius Toney another week. And you can't predict that. So on a team like that, I don't want too much exposure to them. But with these teams where it's very clear where the ball is going, I'm okay with it. Another good example of a team I won't do this with, Green Bay. I have no idea who their number 1 receiver is going to be. I have no idea who their number 2 receiver is going to be from week to week. It might be Jaden Reed over the course of the year, but they throw the ball around so much. Bo Melton gets involved in there. Dontavion Wicks. Like, I want to be a little bit careful about my exposure there. But some of these other teams, like Los Angeles Rams, it's going to Puka Nacua, it's going to Cooper Kupp. It's pretty clear, right? So it just depends on team context there.
No, I love that explanation, and I think that, you know, it is the, you know, different argument from what Robbie's making, but I think Robbie can even that's a great point, right?
That's there are caveats. There's nuances.
Mhm.
There's nuances. Like Jamie asked, like, okay, well, like, what about, like, a Mayfield, Godwin, like Otten, all equitable. You'll be able to afford that if the draft lets you. That's dope if your league mates let things like that happen. I don't know too many league mates that are that nice though.
No, there's not any there. I mean, those are new. Those are new people. You're sitting there, you're on the clock. You've got two players that with very, very similar ADP. What's the determining factor for you, Robbie?
Two players,
similar ADP.
Yep. I think that's where it kind of for me it's going to come down to how I'm feeling about that player, gut feeling wise, but then also film. Honestly, I'm a big film guy. I am going to look into their stats from the previous season. I'm going to look at things that have changed around them as well. But film is going to be a huge deciding factor, and obviously whether or not they're going into a new system or not, and the coordinators in that system.
Austin?
I think if we're assuming they're the same position, it's going to depend a little bit on like which player I think has more upside. Like I actually had a bit of a misclick on this last pick. I kept going back between Tyler Boyd and Rashad Bateman, and I forgot which one I picked, and I went Tyler Boyd out. I wanted to go with Rashad Bateman there. There are two guys. I'm like similar situations, similar ADP, similar projections on Underdog's projection system. But I actually like Rashad Bateman's ceiling a bit more because it seems like at where he's at in the 17th round, he has a chance to be a number one receiver in that Baltimore outside of Mark Andrews. So I like the upside there. If I'm looking at two players and they're not necessarily the same position, it's just going to depend a little bit on positional value at that point and how I feel about getting a running back in that tier versus a wide receiver in that tier.
Yeah, wrapping this up 18th round here. We got the 19th and 20th directly after this, and the draft will finish up. Get to this next question by Jamie. How do you tackle rookie players in best ball right now without knowing landing spot? Hang on before either one of you guys answer this. Jamie, this is why you get here on time. We have talked about this a little bit. Get here on time. Don't be like your friend Taco. I'm sorry, Robbie, wrong stream. Robbie, real quick, enlighten Jamie on your answer for how you're tackling rookie players in best ball right now without knowing their landing spots.
You're just trying to anticipate landing spots. Look at mocks that you feel like are from reliable analysts that you may or may not look up to. But even they're not even knowing. Like McShay, Kuiper, all these guys, like they don't. So I mean, you're kind of in a way performing the same exercise at this point, just in a tournament format.
Yeah, I think it's more about trusting what you've seen on film, and knowing that again, a player like Marvin Harrison, it doesn't matter where he goes, he's still going to be good. He could end up in an elite position, or he can end up in just a good position. So, Austin, anything to add to those?
I think the biggest thing is just don't be afraid to take them right now. Like this is the most value you're ever going to get on some of these guys. Once people get more introduced to them, it's going to go from there.
Since we are about a round and a half from finishing up, I got a couple more questions, more strategic questions than anything. We'll talk about some of this draft here shortly. Again, this is one of those fun ones. Get the best ball juices flowing. What is unique to best ball specifically that you factor into your strategy? What there's scoring rules, how you build your team, whatever. What specifically with best ball that you factor into your draft strategy itself, Robbie?
I'm a correlation freak. Like once that schedule gets released, bro, like I may have only done like a handful, like 4 or 5, admin drafts with my a couple of the employees over at Underdog, but yeah, like I don't know, dude. Like for me, once that schedule comes out, oh, I'm a completely different animal. Like every day, I'm gonna be messaging my coworkers like, "Hey, you drafting today? We doing another one? Like we're doing another one." Because we get to do as many admin drafts as we want amongst each other. So yeah, as soon as that schedule comes out, that's when this is the first date. It's just the first date, you know.
Austin, what is unique to the best ball scoring settings that you factor in most when you're drafting outside of correlation now?
Yeah, I
No.
would say outside of correlation, I think I touched on it earlier a little bit. It's picking players that you know are going to score you points at some point during the season. I think that's one of the biggest things. Like in redraft, you can take a dart throw on a guy that may not ever start in your lineup because you could just drop them.
Like Johnny
at any
Wilson.
point. Okay, hold up. Don't do that.
You know, but you say it, but that seems like we're playing fantasy football, we're playing best ball. In order to win, you have to have points. But
Johnny Wilson ain't gonna have any.
It seems like the easiest, I don't know, like the easiest thing to leave out because you know you have to have points in order to win, but yet we don't factor that in somehow.
Yeah, and so I think like we talked about it a little bit earlier with how you build certain positions, like the person in the one spot here taking 4 running backs off the gate, like that's gonna hamper your ability for some of your 4th round pick to have more than 0 points added to your team throughout the course of the year. You know, me taking my little Johnny Wilson pick in the 19th round doesn't feel so bad compared to taking my 4th running back in the 4th round.
Give me Brandon Rice.
No, I think we just like very different receivers on this one.
I think we do like very different receivers on this one.
Yeah, I'm not a big Brandon Rice guy, but you know that's the fun of this is like you said, Robbie. None of us really know, so you take your dart throws on the guys that you like, and that's the fun of it. And I think that's part of the thing that's helpful to remember when you're playing best ball. Is like you're gambling, you're putting money down on this.
Mm-hmm.
Like, so there's an element of that.
I'm not.
Robbie's not.
I want to say this on the record.
Robbie's not.
Robbie is not. We are not contributing to Robbie's failures. To put it best, I guess.
But when you think of it that when you say like, okay, I've decided I'm willing to lose this $10, it should honestly free you up to take more risk and be willing to like stick your neck out there for a guy that you like and think might pop off. And it doesn't matter if nobody else agrees because that's the point. That's where you get advantages in this type of format.
I tell my girlfriend that this is just my version of retail therapy.
That's what it is. It is retail therapy. That's exactly what it is. One more question that I think we can get out here is halfway through this 20th round is what advice do you have for fantasy managers who are new to best ball leagues and looking to improve their drafting skills, whether that's in best ball or even I think there's a lot of things you can learn in best ball that you can take to the redraft streets.
There's a lot.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I think I would say 2 things. First off, set a budget because
yes,
this is a fun habit that you can do a lot of these. So set a budget that you're comfortable with and do a lot of drafts. And if you can't do as many drafts as your budget allows, do mock drafts. Mm-hmm. Because like I talked about earlier, knowing the ADP is very important in these because that's how you're going to get value. That's how you're going to get an advantage over other players is knowing that you can get a certain player below where you think that they're ranked or knowing that you need to get a player a little bit earlier if you want to get a certain build to happen. So it's really important to have the practice and to know the ADP when you're going into it and not just start guessing there from the get-go. There's some other things. I mean, one advice would be watch Club Fantasy because we have a lot of advice on how to navigate best ball from a strategic perspective. Right? We have a lot of thoughts about the types of league that you enter, what the size of the contest is, what type of contest it is. There's a lot of different types of best ball that are out there. There's nobody good in the 20th round. Why do y'all do 20 rounds?
But because we don't know bye weeks, we don't know.
See the tournaments. There you go. Like,
I mean, I don't hate that.
That was an auto pick.
I do not. Yeah, exactly.
I did actually stack with Jacoby Myers.
There you go.
Look, it all works out.
Every bit of it.
No, so what I would say, best advice, look, the first thing is set a budget. That absolutely is the first thing. So I'm glad that you said it first, because I was like, damn. I was like, as soon as I say it, people are gonna be like, he has to say it. He was like, so it's 1-800 gambler if you have a problem, like for real though. But aside from that, like, there are some really dope skills about like roster constructions, things of that nature that, look, you're already going to care about your best ball lineups because you have an attachment to it. You have a financial attachment to it. So you take these, and then when you go to compete against your friends in redraft or dynasty or etc. That's where you can maybe think about, hey, I'm going to stack these two players together, because of, I know when I get deep into the playoffs, I'm going to have this. And I know this because I've done nothing but look at correlation for like fantasy football, like, from a best ball perspective. I have built redraft leagues that are modeled after best ball drafts because I treated that best ball draft like it was a mock. I was like, oh, well, Gator, we've been on streams over on my network,
Yep.
Where we've done this. We have done. Hey, man, I need to mock really quick. I got a draft coming up. But, I also got like, this money sitting in my Underdog account, or like I got like a bonus, play or whatever. Let me go ahead. Let's go ahead and do it, So it works. It's a great tool still. And then it's always nice when you win something afterwards.
Yeah, I mean, if you need to mock, ironically, we have Club Fantasy FFL has 2 mocking shows right now going on every Saturday morning. Mock it like it's hot. That is at 11 o'clock on Saturdays. And then you've got my show right here, Monday nights, 10 p.m. Like I said, we are doing this best ball because we have the new best ball show starting next week. So we wanted to jump into the streets real quick, do a best ball. We'll be back doing mocks next week with a super flex, and we will have Josh Hudson, our very own CEO, boss man himself, will be joining myself and Chris Battistow on next Monday at 10 o'clock. But let's talk more about this particular draft. We'll get through this really quickly. We're already at the hour mark. Robbie, biggest reach in this draft. Did you notice somebody that was just crazy reach for overall?
You can't say Johnny Wilson.
I mean, obviously not, because I mean that's your dart throw pick. I really wanted to. I was gonna can't say Johnny Wilson. I feel like right now, as early as it is, you can't really call anyone's pick like necessarily like a reach, per se. I would have liked to maybe see a little bit more risk taken throughout this draft. I would have liked to see people be like, fuck it, it's early. Like, I'm gonna go get Saquon at the 1-on-1 just because, like, just I'm kidding. Don't do that. Don't do that.
I mean, the person that picked 1 would have absolutely probably done that if he'd
Yeah, with his clear expertise in running backs, yes. But no, like I feel like that's my biggest reach is, you do not need 4 fucking running backs.
Biggest value for you, Austin?
Biggest value for me? Oh boy, that's a really great question. I mean, clearly everyone on my team, first off, jokes aside, I think Keaton Mitchell is an interesting value here. He goes in the 15th round, at the end of the 15th round. I really like his ceiling. I think he has a bigger, I feel like he has a bigger potential for breakout games than guys like Rico Dowdle, frankly, Julio McLaughlin. Like, I think that he showed that he can be pretty exciting last year in Baltimore. I think having a guy like Derrick Henry as to take some of the major load and have Keaton Mitchell come back and be a change of pace back, like that is a pretty nice duo. So I like the value there for Mitchell.
I like that.
I love that. Yeah, I love that as well. I mean, there's going to be he's going to have some opportunity with the King being there. Let's go ahead and get out of here. Like Jamie said, in order to win, you have to tune in 100%. Do not show up an hour late to this podcast in particular. And I think he meant to write this like on his mirror. Not sure he meant to put this in the chat, but definitely put it on the mirror. Jamie knows I'm messing with. He took Keaton Mitchell in the 15th round as well today. So that seems to be right about where he's going. So I like it. I like it. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button for us over here at Club Fantasy FFL on the YouTube. If you're not already, go ahead and fix that now. Like I said earlier, we are on the way to 1,000 subscribers. We can only do that with you. Our lineup goes like this. Starting next Tuesday will be Masterclass. High stakes best ball at 8:30 p.m. Wednesday mornings, every Wednesday morning. Who's Your Caddy, the Golf DFS at 9 a.m. Wednesday evening, No Punting 10 to the flagship show at 7. Saturday, Market Like It's Hot, 11 a.m. Sunday, Dynasty After Party, 11 a.m. And then, of course, like I said a little bit ago, Mocking with the Stores, 10 p.m. on Mondays. And next week's guest is the one and only one Hudsonian over there on Twitter, Josh Hudson. Robbie, let the viewers know where they can find you, what you're working on, all the good stuff that Underdog has you doing.
Be on the lookout for some more awesome giveaways from Underdog. We just did a ton of airdrops. Like, yes, I said, I'm glad you like the shirt, brother. I'm glad you like the shirt. A bunch of swag giveaways coming. Some new Discord exclusive content, like exclusive fantasy football shows, live reactions, so on and so forth. Are going to be happening over there. So make sure you guys, get involved over on the Underdog Discord. And also, obviously, check me out on Rumboyz Fantasy Network, on YouTube, on Twitch, every Friday night. What was it? 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific, Rumboyz After Dark. And we'll be getting into some of our off-season content as well. Get you guys started for SFB and those Dynasty and Redraft streets. You already know what's going on.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Austin, what do you got going on? Where can the listener find you?
Yeah, you can find me at Austin_FFL on Twitter and Instagram. I forgot the little underscore there in my little text on my name, I see. Yeah. And I'll be doing some off-season content for Club Fantasy. So catch it at clubfantasyffl.com. Be on the lookout. When that schedule release hits, I do a week 17 correlation article. I break down all the week 17 matchups. I tell you the stacks to target. I rank those matchups based on how stackable I think they are, how much upside I think they are, how much risk I think they have. I have some metrics. I have some ways that I go about deciding which matchups I want to prioritize correlating. So be on the lookout for that. And then you can catch all of my Carolina Panthers coverage with At Last Word on NFL.
Awesome. I greatly appreciate you joining us tonight, Robbie. Thank you for your insight. Absolutely wonderful. Austin, thank you for stepping into the co-host chair there for Chris Battistel. Listen, I always say this. It doesn't apply necessarily to best ball, but it does apply to our rookie mocks and or dynasty show or our dynasty drafts. Always draft for talent, trade for need. You are not setting a lineup for another 5 months. And until next time.